Tem dias que eu acordo pensando e querendo saber de onde vem o nosso impulso de explorar o espaço. A começar pelas sombras, sobre as estrelas, e de pensar que eram os deuses, astronautas, deuses, e que se pode voar sozinho pelas estrelas, ou antes de tempos conhecidos, vieram os deuses de outras galáxias, hoje um planeta de possibilidades impossíveis, e de pensar que nós não somos os primeiros seres terrestres, porque nós temos uma consciência cósmica. Humano este, humano este. Eram os deuses, astronautas, eram os deuses, astronautas, vieram os deuses de outras galáxias, ou de possibilidades impossíveis, e de pensar que nós não somos os primeiros seres terrestres, não, porque nós temos uma consciência cósmica. Humano este. Humano este. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Errarei, humano este. Aí, minha gente, tudo bem? Queridos, obrigado, um abraço, um beijo na alma, kiss in your heart, kiss on your soul. Thank you for being here in our community show at 7 with Frederico7. Fred here. If you're tuning in from Austin Music TV, thank you for being here. If you're here on Facebook or YouTube or anywhere on the internet, whether you are live with us, and you're going to say hello in a moment. And as you can read below, we're going to be hanging out with my friend Nico in just a few minutes of Superfonicos and Tropidelico. Or whether you see this after the fact, hello. and hope you're hanging in there and that your soul is shining bright today. As you guys got to hear and see, I was just playing an acoustic track, an acoustic song in my backyard with my acoustic guitar for my mom. She passed away a couple weeks ago. Very sad. Over the last year, we have lost so many people in our communities, in our world. And 6 months ago, lost my mother-in-law, and then just recently having my mom pass. So it's been a lot of loss in my personal life, but also throughout the whole planet, our country, and the whole globe. If you're watching us in Brazil, beijo na alma, abraço, hang in there. I know that there's lockdowns happening in Brazil right now. Situation is a bit dire right there. Então, beijo na alma para vocês. If you are in Colombia, in Mexico, anywhere you happen to be tuning in, know that grief is just love that does not know where to go. So it will take some time. It will take some time for all of us to heal. It will take some time for me personally, but for our community in general. And central in my life and central in the core of what I do and what I've been raised to do is the idea that the arts and that music have a power to transform and to elevate what we are going through. So sharing música, compartiendo la música, sharing what's happening in our world musically and talking to creative souls and feeling that it's the most powerful way that we have to process all that we've been through in Texas, here with the snow, storms and so forth and beyond, political year where so many divisiveness, etc. So through música and la música, through music, we can elevate the discourse, grieve, transform, and and figure it all out. Así que vámonos with the beauty of music. And talking about music, I'm gonna share right now a song by my friend Chita Lima. Yes. Chita, if you're watching Chita, abraço pra você. This track is called Bittersweet, and she did come out with this track last year, and I'm hoping to get Chita Lima here on the show for an interview with us. But I'm always highlighting work from women and powerful ladies that are leaders in music, and they're producing great songs. And I haven't had a chance to share some tracks from Chita Lima yet. So enjoy right now. This is Chita Lima. She is a Brazilian-American artist, a dear friend. You may have seen her here in Austin, Texas. The track is Bittersweet. It's beautiful. Check it out.
No need to sugarcoat it. You're rough around the edges, just sweeping through your corners. I found the gold I wanted. Now everywhere I go, everywhere I look, I'm reminded of you. It's not that I'd want, I'd love to ring you up with a smile on my face. I'm feeling a bit bittersweet when you're away. Bittersweet like summer rain. I'm feeling bittersweet when you're away. Bittersweet, my sweetest baby. Your perfect imperfections keep weighing down your shoulders. Like magnet, I am driven into your magic. Now everywhere I go, everywhere I look, I'm
Eso, that's Chita Lima, Bitter Sweet. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Uh, right from, Chita, we played a few shows a few times during South by Southwest. We have shared the stage. We have traveled a little bit. She's a fantastic songwriter and producer. Um, and many folks here in Austin have seen Chita Lima live. So sending some Austin love to her and right back. And hopefully we'll have her for a live interview with us um, sometime soon. And a shout to everybody, Austin Music Television. Thank you for being here with us. A shout for all the folks that may be checking out right now on Facebook, on the Frederico7 Facebook page, also on YouTube channel. And I can just drop the link really quick here if you want to follow us on YouTube. We have previews, interviews with really fun folks. For example, last time we had here Indrajit Banerjee, world-class sitar player. We played Brazilian Indian music across the internet. It was a lot of fun, and we had a lot of connection there. So we had Atash, we've had Easy Compadre, so many bands, Atlas Mayor, many interviews that you can check out with Austin international musicians, Beto Martinez. I'm hoping to get some music by Los Sundowns. Los Sundowns, some music that Beto Martinez over there, Leche House Studio, has been working on. So hello to Leche House Studio and to Beto. Hopefully we're going to have some of your music here. And today, if you're just tuning in and what's happening today, well, in just a few moments, I'm going to have Nico Sanchez Castro, Colombiano, Americano, Colombiano, outstanding musician, band leader, producer. There's not a lot that he doesn't do, so we're going to be talking to him about how he got into creativity, how he got into what he does, what's moving him, what's been up for the past year with Superfonicos, with him, and what can we expect in terms of música. Want to give a shout to all the musicians in Austin, Texas musicians. If you want to know more about, news on legal matters or as we are getting back to playing live music in Austin and the do's and don'ts of coming back in a sustained and safe way. You can follow Austin, Texas musicians online. E abraço. Thank you once again for Austin Music Television for hosting this humble show where we bring community to all of you guys. And yeah, there's some folks. I'll say hello to Tony. Tony, hello, all the way to Mexico. We're sending love to you and strength, and so happy to have you here. Join us. Great that you're here for the ride. Let's hear Nico's story and listen to some music. That's right. Thank you for being here. You guys can put your comments if you're on my Facebook or YouTube. We gotta give a shout. I gotta give a shout to a dear friend, someone that has been in our community for a long time, working with so many people, Adrian Quesada, and all of the crew of Black Pumas, and some of the musicians that I've had the honor and pleasure to share the stage with, like Jerron Marshall and Stephen Bidwell. Congratulations on your Grammy performance, outstanding. And Adrian Quesada, querido Adriano, un abrazo. Congratulations for this milestone, so well deserved, representing Austin music in the highest of calibers, in the highest regard. If you didn't see the performance, you can check it out later on. You can type Black Pumas Grammy performance on YouTube, and you will see how our music, our Austin music, was represented by our friends, including Adrian Quesada, that produced a few of my songs over the years. So I'm just honored to have been able to work with people like that. Abraço. Okay, we have a lot of energy in the air because we're going to talk about Afro-Colombian music today. We're going to learn more about Afro-Colombian music. We're going to learn more about the ties between Austin and Colombia today. So before I bring Nico to the studio, let's check out this quick video here to get an idea of what Superfonicos is all about, and then we'll bring Nico in. Let's do that.
Sigue pa'lante, nunca para atrás. Sigue pa'lante, nunca para atrás. Porque así es la vida, mamá. Porque así es la vida, papá. Sigue pa'lante, nunca para atrás. Sigue pa'lante, nunca para atrás. Porque así es la vida, mamá. Porque así es la vida. Pa'lante, 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 mi gente. Pa'lante, 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 mi gente.
Eso es una maravilla. Señoras y señores, déjame traer al estudio a Nico. ¿Qué tal, Nico? ¿Qué onda? ¿Cómo estás? How are you doing, my friend?
I'm blessed. Thank you so much for having me, Freddy. I'm doing great. Yes, and on a day like today, just this perfect day. These are the kind of days that I guess it's appropriate that it would have been probably the first day of South by Southwest, or is it? Or is that next week? I've lost track, but it seems like one of those days where people come for that event and they go, "This is perfect. I'm gonna move here," and then they wait 1 month later and it's 110 degrees and they go, "I don't know. Did I make the right decision?"
That is so true, Nico. So true. And they would have stumbled into, a big band like yours playing some outdoor event.
Some beautiful day party.
Yes, hosted by a local brewery or something like that. And oh my God, it's crazy to just think that it's been a whole year of pause into the pace that the work that you guys were doing. I mean, Superfonicos. When did you start the band? Just for reference, how many years have you guys been working together?
The very first Superfonico show was November of 2016, but the seeds were planted much earlier, probably more like 2014. We started with me, Daniel, who's the drummer, is also my brother, and he was living in Dallas, and I was always like, move to Austin and we'll start a band. So I always just wanted to be in a band with my brother. And then Eric Borges and Andres Villegas, we kind of all got together about 2014. Just, we were all in other bands and other projects, and it was just, we'd get together when we had time and kind of try and work on this thing that would sort of bring to light the like Afro-Colombian music that we all really loved to listen to and grew up with, but had never really played it in a band. So it was one of those things where it was a lot of studying too, where we're just bringing recordings. Okay, this week I like this song. Let's check this out and let's learn this. Oh yeah, I like this. Okay, what rhythm is that? Okay, that's porro. Okay, how's porro different than cumbia? So it was a lot of studying and really, watering the those seeds that we were planting. And but really not until 2016 when Jaime Ospina, he moved to Austin. He's the front man, lead singer of Superfonicos. That's when all these, we had the puzzle pieces, but we were missing some stuff. And it was like we maybe were playing things, but we were like we're just going off of what we're hearing, but we're not like don't have the backstory on a lot of this stuff. So he grew up in Bogota, and studied all over. He studied on the coast with maestros playing the gaita flutes, and learning all the traditional instruments, the tambora, the alegre. So when he came, it really opened our eyes to kind of connecting the dots on some of the things that we were like, we see this here and we see this here, but what's in between? So he kind of helped us bridge that gap, really, and it kind of all just started to make a whole lot more sense when Mr. Ospina came to town. So I definitely owe a lot of gratitude to Jaime, and for we all have those people in our lives that are our teachers and our mentors, and a lot of times they're also our close brothers. So he definitely did that for this group, as well as many other groups, I'm sure, throughout his illustrious career in the arts.
Man, it's big shout and love to Jaime that he has so much knowledge, and hopefully one day I'll have him here as well and
He'll be here,
interview
yeah, for
him.
sure.
I would love, because that's, once again, even having this space and eventually us being hanging out and saying hello to folks in Austin and the Austin Music TV. This is all byproduct of us in the in these times, and trying to pivot to just still talking and having conversations. So I definitely want to have him here sometime so that more people can get access to his backstory. And then a big shout out to your brother too, Daniel, amazing drummer. I actually, as you know, we've played together, believe a couple of shows and rehearsed a couple of times, and then COVID hit. I was looking forward to playing more with Daniel Sanchez. So you guys, talk to me a little bit. Growing up, you guys around the house, were you guys musicians from early on, or was music something that came to you and Daniel later on? How did it work for you and getting into musica?
So I have to owe I owe everything to my parents, And on that same note, beautiful tribute to your mother. Thank you so much for pushing forward and doing this work even in such a difficult time, because I know our family is everything, coming from I mean, everybody, the family, the roots, that's where we learn everything, and that's for better or worse, that's where our humanity comes from, the lineage. So for me, musically speaking, my parents, I owe them a big debt of gratitude, because from the earliest memories I have are, listening to, my parents putting on cumbia records, putting on salsa, even like, I was born in '83. So I remember, like, Paul Simon and they would put on Graceland and put on all kinds of '80s music, cumbia, salsa, funk, all kinds of stuff. So music was always around the house. Now, neither of my parents are musicians, but they always supported in that sense. And when I went to fifth grade, I went to a school that offered orchestra classes. So they got me involved in the orchestra, and I started taking cello. So that was my first introduction to music. Actually playing and performing was playing cello. And so I guess shortly after that, I kind of fell in love with the four stringed instruments.
Nice.
So I got an electric bass for Christmas in, I think it was probably sixth grade. So about 11 or 12, that's when I started playing the electric bass, and it was
You were
over.
getting
From there
you
I've been, down that path.
you're getting comfortable in the lower range of expression in music.
I wanted to play the upright bass in the orchestra class, but I was super short, little dude. The tallest kid in the class was the guy playing upright. And, we're in fifth grade, so he was still not very tall. He was standing on like a stool to play the bass, He had to get a little prop up to play it. But I was like, man, I want to play that. But, so started playing electric bass, and a big part of that too was my older brother Christian. He was playing. He had an electric guitar, so I was like, well, the logical choice is for me to get a bass. And then some years later, there's a 6 year gap between me and Daniel. So at some point, he saw me and my brother jamming and was like, "Well, I'm gonna get some drums, I guess, family band style." So so he
Nice.
so he got drums, and so we would always jam at home, throughout our childhood, and then but we never really jammed in a like proper band setting until you know he moved to Austin, really. So I moved here. It's probably been about 15 years since I moved here. So yeah, maybe 10 years ago or so is when we actually started playing and performing in a group called Don Chani, which was a reggae.
Yeah, of
We did
course.
reggae, dub, Latin stuff. That was one of my introductions to playing music in Austin, Texas, and I met many great musicians through that group. And I never like to close a door. We're just taking a long hiatus with that group, but I would love to one day, you know, get back and do that because I love playing reggae music. That was always one of my first passions was reggae, and I still do in other groups. There's a group called La Candon that I play with, and we do a lot of dub stuff or like backup. Whenever there's Jamaican artists that roll through town, sometimes we'll pick up those gigs and back up the artists.
Nice.
Um, so that's always been a big passion of mine is reggae music, and me and Danielle shared that. I think also through my parents, probably they probably put on some reggae stuff too, and I think it's just in the blood, and the connection between cumbia and reggae is so apparent. It's right there. They're like primos.
It is so true. I yeah, I will ask a question that sometimes I think about that. I want to touch back on something that you said earlier. Absolutely, thank you for mentioning family and for me. I did take a break from the show, and I'll keep when I need to take my breaks. But for me, part of my process of moving forward is to cherishing some of the things that my family loves and that my mom's legacy is keeps going on sharing this space. So for me, it's actually a good thing. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that I cancel in the last 3 weeks. Trust me. But I was like, no, I'm finally wanting to have conversations and so forth. And the other thing too, Nico, as I mentioned earlier, it's just been a rough year. Weather folks here in Texas, right? We went through a whole week without electricity and without knowing from our authorities what was the game plan.
Hmm.
I think that was the most frustrating or traumatizing thing for people was the awareness, like, hey, you know, folks that were supposed to give us reliable information were not doing it. Did you guys, before we move on, were you guys okay? Did you guys, because you have some babies in the house, how did you make through
We,
that crazy week we had?
we did relatively all right compared to a lot of my friends that live in. We're actually living out in Dripping Springs now.
Oh, okay.
So I was hearing from a lot of my friends that live, downtown Austin or like close to campus or something who were without power for 7 days. Friends in East Austin the whole time and just unbelievable. No, so luckily we did okay. Just a few hours off, um, back on for a couple hours and then off, but really just for like 2 or 3 days, and then it came back. Luckily, it never got too cold in our home because yeah, we do have a 2-month-old baby. So we were starting to
Yeah.
get a little worried that first night where the first night was the roughest. I think maybe the Monday or the Tuesday or something, but we did okay, all things considered.
No, that is great. Because all of this happening, and now we as musicians, for example, vaccines are coming up slowly. How are you managing, or you and the group? You guys you play with many different groups, but the the main one currently that people may think of you is Superfonicos, and you guys can have from 7 people on stage or more.
Hmm.
What do you guys need to be happy to and feeling safe to be out there in an ideal world? And there's a lot of folks from Austin Music TV, they're music fans. They may be wondering, what does the band leader of a 7, 9 piece band thinks about in terms of coming back? So what would you need to see happening so that you would feel comfortable with your beautiful band, playing in an Austin venue?
It's very tricky with the large group. I could see how it'd be, a little less challenging with the 3 or 4 piece band. But for Superfonicos, yeah, we definitely had our hurdles over the last year. Even rehearsal was interesting with a group that big, because you're trying to heed the advice of the people in power, I suppose, or people with more scientific evidence. But so rehearsal was tricky. We definitely did some, not as much as we were doing before. We were weekly to even 2 times a week before, and just kind of ground to a halt, pretty much exactly a year ago. And we had a few recording dates booked throughout the year that kind of kept getting pushed back for various reasons. And the most recent was going to be over at Adrian Quesada's studio in February. But that was kind of the numbers were trending back upwards, and it didn't feel right to pull that one out. So hopefully we can get back in there sometime real soon. And congrats to Adrian on all his success with the Pumas. But to answer the question, for Superfonicos to come back to the stage, which might be a good time to also announce, we finally have a show booked. So it's April 30 at Empire Control Room. And what Empire is doing would be a good model for slowly working our way back out as a large band. And they're definitely still requiring masks. They're doing all, enforcing everything despite what the governor said is okay. And luckily in Austin has a little more sense, I think, than some places. So we're still requiring masks as a general rule here in town. But yeah, I believe the way they're doing it, they're doing multiple tables set up outside in their large garage area. So it's open air, multiple tables. And so I think that the open air situation is huge. Right now, I think cramming into a small club with everybody sweating and right together is what seems instinctually like the thing that is most gratifying, like deep
Oh, sure.
for our whole like experience as musicians. That's where we like get that reciprocal nature of this music, is like you're sweating and singing everything at the top of your lungs, and we're over here and we're receiving that energy and giving it back. But so it might be a little bit different, we'll see how it is. But with people, spread out a bit. But I think any opportunity to play music for people in a live setting is going to be fulfilling and fill our hearts with joy. And there probably will be some tears shed. And, it's just, I didn't realize how important the live part of it really is for my personal mental health, And I think maybe about April of last year, it became very apparent that is my therapy, like I don't go to a therapist, and maybe I should, but that was playing live music was my therapy, and the way I get out my emotions that don't make their way out in my regular every day-to-day interactions at home. When you're stuck at home, these things pile up and pile up and pile up, and these feelings, a lot of times we don't know how to channel them properly. So the stage was always the way I suppose I did it. And
Yeah,
when that's taken away, it can be a little rough.
absolutely. I at times think like the waters get still, right? All of these emotions, and this is the ultimate release for us. There has been these studies where they look at a musician's brain when a musician is playing music, and all of the areas of the brain are lighting up
Uh-huh.
because that's the activity that it's once again that's the activity that is getting our whole being into it. It's so science supports exactly what you just said, Nico. It is an ultimate release, and to not have that release and through all that we've been through, and like we were saying, it's you as far as playing live, is you had all of the beautiful wealth of shows that you guys were building with Superfonicos, but also like you're mentioning, you're playing some reggae, either with Don Chani or Lacandon or with Micah Shalom as
Micah, yeah,
well.
we were had a pretty good calendar, like most musicians, you gotta spread it out to be able to rake in enough to make a living. Unless you're in one of those top fortunate bands that you get booked enough with your one project throughout the country to where you can make it work. But yeah, for most of us that stick around town, mostly you gotta book your weekends solid and your weekdays at everything with a few groups so you don't saturate your market and spread it out, and early shows, and then get in the car and drive across town and go do your late show at Sahara Lounge, all that stuff. So yeah, miss it big time. But just even the seeing that shows are coming back, even in a scaled back manner, is just, it gives me hope. And I think even going outside after like a rough year, rough winter, and seeing the trees, you look at the branches and you see the little green popping off of them, and it might not be quite
Yes,
there yet, but
yes.
it's coming. You look down at all this charred stuff from the storm, and you look down and there's a little bitty thing popping out, and you go, you know what? We're resilient. That's Austin musicians right there. We're tough. We're resilient. We're like all these little, you know, we're drought tolerant. We're cold hardy.
That is absolutely. I thought about that. I have this plant is a Texas sage, and I thought it was completely gone. And just 2 days ago, exactly what you described, and that was my thought. Hope, right? Oh, I
Yeah.
am within all that we are navigating, and within heartbreak and loss and lack of people that lost their job and everything, but we got hope, and hope is the music, part of the reason that energy and what we do, what we bring up, it's so important in the city. What's up, Joshua Thompson? We can say hello on the internet for a moment, Nico, like because we got some people watching us.
JT.
Yeah, yeah, we got Mr. JT in the house. Josh, we love you, brother. You know it. We got some folks in Brazil. We got my aunt, my minha tia Raquel. We got Tony. She's in Mexico right now, so it's happening. We got I think Daniel maybe in California. So hello, whatever you happen
Beautiful.
to be. Austin Music TV. If you just stumble up in this interview, I'm Freddy. This is Nico. We are talking music, international music in Austin. Nico, I'm gonna show you some images, a little bit about your stories, and then you can talk to us what that image makes you think, or what it makes you feel, or anything that you remember from looking at that. So here's the first one. That's one of the main images that we got to know you guys. What comes to you to mind when you look at your band photo here?
That was, yeah, probably one of our very first photo shoots, with the wonderfully talented Nikki Acosta, who has actually been our photographer for every photo shoot since then, because we just loved her vibe. And her company's magnetic focused photography. So look them up, book her. She's amazing. She made us all feel really comfortable, and I think that goes a long way with musicians because we feel comfortable with instruments on. When you don't have an instrument on, it's like, what do I do with my hands? Where do I go? What am I looking at the camera? Am I looking over there? And she really helped us like kind of, feel at ease.
Yes, and I love the symbols in the back there. I don't know if those are indigenous Colombian symbols, but very nice. And man, this is one of my. I like many tracks from you guys. This is just one of my favorites. Rio Negro, I think it's one of the earliest ones. Is that
That
right?
was our very first single.
All
And this
right.
one is was recorded with Adrian Quesada over at his studio when it was still at his home.
Electric Deluxe.
This was pre Electric Deluxe, so this was what Level One Studios. Um, so
All right.
2016, yeah. And this was an interesting track because we sort of worked in reverse on this one to where we laid the foundation rhythm. We laid the rhythm, and then a few months later went in and wrote lyrics to it. And somewhere within that time, Jaime Ospina popped into town. So we were most fortunate because we were like, okay, great, yeah, let's get Jaime to sing this instead.
Right on time. Right
Yeah,
on time.
because yeah, let's see. The plan was, yeah, let's record the rhythm, and then I was gonna take a little bit of time because my first baby was born around that time. This was, yeah, a little over 4 years ago. So I was like, okay, we'll record the rhythm. We'll sit on the track and think about it a little bit, and then hit the studio after I get acclimated to baby life. And somewhere within that time, Jaime landed into town, and we took it from there.
And you took it from there, and then here you guys are again, live with La Energia. And
That was a
Jaime.
South by show. I think that was, where was that? Mohawk, maybe.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, you would have been, yeah, this would be in South by week, so you guys would have had a number. You would be hopping all over with all of your
I
many
would have
bands.
been I would have been trying to convince all the guys to do all these shows all over town, and
And then about a little bit after April of last year, we you guys actually had this beautiful initiative with Leyline. Leyline have been here. We love Leyline, and which is the No More Silence compilation. You guys got a lot of artists involved for a great cause. That was pretty cool. How did that come about? Was that a lot of work on your end to put it all together?
that one was kind of born out of a conversation I had with Kate from Leyline, in conjunction with Ryan, our press agent. We were kind of trying to figure out how to navigate like putting out singles that were very important to us and very meaningful, but putting them out in a time that was, I don't want to say inappropriate, but like the full focus was on this racial justice that was wave that was sweeping over the country, following the George Floyd murder, and just trying to figure out how do we, not try and look like we're like trying to capitalize on something that's happening or whatever. So we were like, well, let's do a compilation and donate all the proceeds, and we still get our music out there, but we're also shining a light on kind of some of these issues that are bubbling to the surface, that have always been there, but it's just, it was just bubbling to the surface right this summer, and the conditions were just right for those things to manifest themselves. And luckily, we reached out to some people, and then overwhelming response, and so it had to turn into a two volume compilation. But credit where it's due. That one really, Leyline, the idea was born, and they took it. so
A
organized and
shout, a shout to them, a shout to Leyline and their whole crew and
they work
Emily
like this
and
well-oiled
everybody.
machine to where sometimes my problem is I'll have ideas and not know how to realize them, so I need like really talented people around me to help put things in order, and maybe even cut some fat off here and do this and that, and so that's why I love surrounding myself with the Superfonicos crew and all the musicians I play with and interact with. They're all contribute in such a beautiful way to this community. None of us would be anything without the community. So I mean, I that's one of the biggest things that I miss of playing music. Is beautiful and it's healing in its own way, but also the interaction with the friends. And oh man, that's the biggest part, I think, is also just the backstage hangs and these ideas that are born from just talking about music and life and what we're doing right now here. Which sometimes there's like the outlets, like you got Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff, but it's not quite the same. You can like you have too much time to yourself, and then you send your idea out. When you're in real time communicating with people, you like you kind of it's like cooking. You're just like, oh, I'm going to throw this in there, and then somebody else throws that in there, and then together you come up with this beautiful thing. When you have time by yourself, you might come up with something great too, but it's different.
Yes, it's the sum of all factors is way beyond anything. It's beautiful, and so that's what I was thinking. Oh, that was a cool thing that you guys did, and like you mentioned, so many other folks in the community responded to that idea that you between you guys and Late Nine set in motion. Uh, and sometimes it just ties to a thing that I wanted to ask you. Of course, your music and different bands and with Superfonicos, there is a fun aspect. We are in Austin, and Austin has a big aspect of being a dance band kind of a city. So yes, your music is a lot of fun, but at the same time, there is another aspect of your music that is almost like music education of sorts. How do you feel, about that? What do you bring into playing a different type of music in the heart of Texas, playing different types of rhythms, having songs written in different languages. What is that role of you guys educating a new audience? And I'm showing that poster, beautiful poster as well, by the ways you guys were at the Mexican American Cultural Center. That's the kind of thing that also fits into that. You guys were educating a whole community into Afro-Colombian music. How do you navigate that world, being in Austin and introducing the world to something new and fun at the same time?
I think it's important, and for us anyway, we kind of feel a duty to teach where a lot of our history comes from, and the backstory behind cumbia. Like, for example, like that show you flashed the poster for there. That one was kind of like highlighting the roots of cumbia. Um, so I think it's just important to because everybody knows cumbia, but depending on where you're from, you might only know the cumbia that's regional to you, because it's such a music that has had such a large reach. So we just wanted to kind of we love doing our fun, sweaty punk style shows where everybody's screaming and all this that, but also we've also enjoyed doing the more educational type shows where families are involved too. You bring kids out, you teach the next generation, which I think is something that is lost a lot of times in live music. It's such a like vampire thing where it's like only happens once the sun goes down and in a bar, and 21 and up, and all these different limitations that we put on it. So we also like encouraging children, encouraging families, um, to participate and learn and grow with us. And I think by incorporating some bit of educational aspect, like some of these shows, we did that one at the Mac. One of our last shows before the shutdown last year, we did over at the One World Theater, and that one was
Oh, I love that space. Beautiful acoustic there.
beautiful acoustics, wonderful sound system, and we knowingly played differently for that venue. We didn't play. We turned down a little bit and kind of and vibed out and tried to enjoy the vibes of that beautiful historic venue, while also kind of trying to set a narrative throughout our show and kind of pulling the screen back a little bit to what we were doing and kind of letting the audience sort of know where these rhythms come from, what the names of the rhythms, the origins, maybe even playing some more cover material too. Like at that show we did a song by Totó La Momposina, who is a beautiful singer and folklore historian from Colombia, who in a and I think this is why it's important to do this, because she had to leave Colombia to really get attention to the music that she was performing, which is like traditional cumbia with tambores, and there's also some gaita material and bullerengue, which is like all traditional, more of on the like Afro-Colombian side. And in Colombia, when she was coming up, this would have been, I guess, 70s and 80s, there was a lot of racism. And there still is. I mean, that's still an undercurrent of modern society, But for her, she really had to. She got famous in Europe, recording at Real World Studios, which is his name is escaping me from
Peter Gabriel? No.
Peter Gabriel. Yes, Peter Gabriel Studios.
That's right.
So she got very popular in Europe and France, and they were calling her and asking her to play festivals. And she was relatively unknown in Colombia. But once she got out there, people in Colombia started realizing, wow, okay, there might be something to this. Maybe I should look into the indigenous story of my own country and the roots of this music, and not just think in a such a like a Eurocentric way, to where if it's not classically trained musicians playing in this pristine studio or in this symphony space, it's not worth my time. Or if it's not a big band cumbia arrangement where everything is just meticulous and perfect, then it's not real music or something, So that whole notion of, it's a shame that she had to leave the country and become famous somewhere else for them to realize this beautiful treasure that they have there. So we think it's very important to always promote these things and let pull the screen back and tell these stories so that people appreciate it. And hopefully you find a different aspect to it that you might not have known, and you grasp onto and learn something. And hopefully we can learn something from the audience too. There's always that. I love seeing children at these shows, because I feel like there's this unburdened connection between children and music. When you get older, you're like figure out, oh, I like this. No, I don't like that. And you have these like preconceived notions of what is good or bad or worthy of your time. Children don't care. If it can like make them wiggle and move, then they're having fun. They don't care what language it's in. They don't care what rhythm it is, whatever, So I think I love seeing children react and respond to music. And it always makes me feel like, okay, let's keep that one in the set. When I see kids and they're really enjoying themselves, I'm like, let's keep those songs in the set, because there's something to those that are very like ancestral, I suppose. And they just kind of hit a different place, maybe back here in your brain or something that you don't have to make it through all of this stuff. It just goes straight to the back. And and just triggers that thing that makes you a child again. So I think,
That is
long,
wise.
yeah. Long story short, we love to try and also have a cultural teaching aspect to some of our shows. Some of them, it's just all right. We're just gonna have fun and whatever. Nobody wants to hear this stuff right now, but we like to definitely perform for kids, and that's another thing that we're kind of trying to explore right now too, is earlier in the day shows, family type stuff, socially distanced still until we can feel a little bit safer. But
Oh man, I can't wait. I do. We as a collective and our comunidad, we start to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Finally, I wanna before the hour is over, I wanna give a shout to everybody on Austin Music Television. Thank you for being around here with us. Superfonicos.com /music for you guys to. If you never heard the music of Superfonicos before, maybe this can be, your connection to Austin, to Colombia. You can start to unravel a whole world of Colombian music. And for those that love your music, this is a great time to be supporting you guys, to buying your merchandise, and getting in touch with you guys. So look them up. And here, this little humble community show, we're happy to have different musicians coming through all the time. So you can access it, all the previous interviews, when you visit on YouTube. The link is right down here, the link for the YouTube channel. Wonderful. If you can subscribe, then you can check it out. More people to come, lining up some fun interviews as we speak. Nico, I wanted to before we get to hear some of your music and we wrap up, I wanted to talk to you. There's so much, by the way. I'm gonna have to have you back with some of the Superfonicos guys in the future so that we can even talk more. Because see, it goes by fast.
it does.
But I've seen you a couple of times, at Waterloo Records, and you were there, and you are listening to a lot of music, and there is a part of you as a producer and a music curator, something that I know that you're missing a lot, which is the Mundo Tropidelico series. Hopefully, when we come back to normalcy, you can get back to producing those again. Can you talk to us a little bit about what happens, what is Mundo Tropidelico, why Mundo Tropidelico, and should we in the future, hopefully we'll have a chance to check it out.
So Mundo Tropidelico kind of was this idea I had of, as the name implies, to kind of bring together a lot of the artists in town that perform tropical, psychedelic, dub inspired kind of music, so it's kind of the cross section of those sounds, and it definitely reaches into other places for sure. And we were most fortunate to have you on the very first one.
Oh man, I love that show.
Yeah.
That was my first time, believe it or not, playing at Hotel Vegas. I don't even know why, but I had a blast. But go on. I love
so
the
much
show.
fun. That was so my hope is to someday, once we start getting back to it, would be to do kind of a Tropidelico Fest, where we kind of bring back a lot of the artists that we've had throughout the last, I guess, 3 years. It started January of 2018, and last year didn't really count. We got one in last year. We got Atlas Mayor and Superfonicos, and a DJ out of New York called Eric Banta, who runs a beautiful label called Names You Can Trust, which they've top quality music. Look them up. Names You Can Trust. Everything they put out is just Tropidelico worthy. It's just
Nice.
it hits all those same marks that I love. So it was so fortunate to have Eric Banta on that gig, and Rambo Salinas from Friends of Sound in San Antonio.
Oh, Rambo Salinas is here often in this show. So Rambo, what's up? If you watch this later on,
Yeah,
say
Rambo made
hello.
that. He made that one happen. So big thanks to Rambo. And the goal there was just to kind of bring a different community into Hotel Vegas, because I love that space, but they very much have their kind of shows. They got punk, they got indie, they got even hardcore shows and stuff. But I didn't ever see a whole hell of a lot of like tropical stuff there. But I love that space. And Superfonicos was booked there, and I was like, instead of just playing a show and whatever, one and done, why don't we make a series out of this? So it was a lot of fun to kind of put that together and curate that. It was kind of a quarterly series that I was doing out there. So I see Beto, Tropidelico Fest, you back the idea. All right, I'm gonna need money chicha on that bill. or Los Sundowns. But yeah, so it's a great meeting point of the minds. I think something about Vegas is very like relaxed, and I think that's what I really like about that place. And yeah, we'll get back to it. We'll get back to it. It's lots of fun doing this. Nemegata too. Their very first show was at a Tropidelico. So so much fun.
I loved all of the posters, and I only got 4 that I uploaded, but because I didn't have enough time to look at all the Tropidelico posters, but I love all of them. So yeah, man. I mean, when we get back into it, sounds like Beto is gang ho for it. Que onda, Beto? It's good to see. That's the community. Like you were saying, Nico. Even part of the reason I'm even having this little show is the backstage conversations and banter that we are not getting to have right now, right? So salucita.
Salud, salud, salud.
Salud.
KUTX plug.
Oh yeah, no, all of our, hey, I'm doing this thing. Maybe one day we'll do a Tropidelico radio show. We can be co-hosts, and
we can do it, brother.
We can have different people as DJs and stuff. But brother, thank you so much. Our time unfortunately is up. Once again, thank you so much for the folks at the Austin Music TV for having this space for international music. Nico, we will be playing Suelta in just a moment. Before you cue for us the video for Suelta, any last words that you want to say to the comunidad? Once again, a lot of folks are going to run into this recording later on. What do we need to know about what you're up to these days, and what can we expect from y'all?
Well, definitely new music on the way. We had a year of cooking. So we're so happy to get back together soon and start, putting our sancocho together and really getting because at this point we've got the EP, which you just flashed there, Suelta, and then we've got about 3 singles. So we don't have the full length yet, which we've been working on it, and we were hoping we were like 2020. That's the year we're gonna get that full length going and out, and we got we got sidetracked, if you will. But yeah, that's what we got coming soon. We're gonna have the full length record out, and more shows, more positivity. We're just happy to even have one show on the books right now. April 30th with Atlas Mayor and Nemegata. So that's going to be a beautiful event over at Empire Control Room. Socially distanced, very safe. They're enforcing, the top tier protocol. As are a lot of venues. They signed on to, I can't remember what they called it, but they all kind of signed a pact that we're all sticking to this, and we're all going to make sure that it's all done right and proper, and here's our protocol, and put it out there. So we feel safe. The community can feel safe coming out and knowing that they're doing it right, and they're not, just going through the motions and trying to make money or something. They're actually caring about the community.
Oh, that is great to hear. I really miss seeing you guys live. I took my first shot, so by then, hey, that will probably be the first show that I'll be out. So look forward to being there and, saying hello to y'all and listen to your music live. Anybody that just ran into this for the first time, thank you. Check out Superfonicos music. And once again, so we're going to hear Suelta. can you, go ahead and talk to us a little bit about this clip and this track, Nico?
The artwork here, I always love the artwork for this too. That's by an artist out of Bogota called Mateo Ribano, and that's just soltando. You're letting go of all these, all of your demonios and all of your vices and all of the things that we've been imposed with from birth, and just suéltalo, let it all go, and create your own reality.
Mi querido, it's been a pleasure to have you, and hasta luego. Hopefully next time I'll have you back here with a few of the guys from Superfonicos, so you guys
We'd love
enjoy.
to do it, yes.
Gracias, estamos, te veo el 30, I'll see you on the 30th of April. You guys check out Superfonicos page. Y esto, ahorita va, esto es Suelta.
Soltar, ay si bien fresco tú quieres estar, ponte en talla, libra la batalla, ponte en buena onda, quiebrate en la raya, pero que la verdad, que basta ya, lo que no vale pasará, lo bueno quedará, porque soltando vamos ya, óyelo mamá, suelta, que suelta todo ya, suelta, la competencia suelta, suelta, las apariencias suelta, suelta, toda esa vaina suelta, suelta, suéltalo todo ya. Suelta, la competencia suelta, 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 suelta. Las apariencias suelta, 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 suelta. Toda esa vaina suelta, suelta, suéltalo todo ya. En este momento va a coger cultura, respetando la natura, óyelo, y volviendo a la cordura, sí señor, respetando la natura, repítelo, y volviendo a la cordura, sí señor, mira, hay que soltar, para agarrar hay que soltar, no aferrarse a nada, ya tú ves, así es, para que entienda usted, tú tienes decencia suelta, las apariencias suelta, suelta, toda esa vaina suelta, suelta, suéltalo todo ya, suelta, el racismo suelta, suelta, la xenofobia suelta, suelta, la homofobia suelta, suelta, suéltalo todo ya. Suelta, deja ir, suelta, suelta, deja ir, suelta, suelta, deja ir, suelta, suelta, deja ir, suelta, suéltalo, déjalo.
Suelta, suelta, suelta en magia. See you guys next time. Abraço forte. Abraço forte. Much love in your heart. Take care.